Hello students, welcome back. In the last session we have discussed event handling steps. The steps were create a GUI, identify events to be handled, create event listener class and implement listener methods, and lastly register the event listener with the source. In today's session we will discuss about different event listeners. In the last session we have seen that the listener or the listener class is used to handle events in Java. A listener class is a class which inherits a particular listener interface. In the last case the class was my listener, which was implementing or which was inheriting action listener interface. Same way for different events we have different listener interfaces. If you're handling a key event, then your class, your listener class should inherit key listener interface. For every type of event class we have a type of listener interface as well, and these listener interfaces we will see in today's session. So let's start. So as we know, a listener, it is an object that is notified when an event occurs. So listener is an object which is notified when the event occurs. If I press on the button, action event occurs and this is notified to action listener. Okay, we have to create a class which inherits action listener and that is notified when the action event occurs. Same way for different events we have different listener interfaces. Okay, listeners are created by implementing one or more of the interfaces defined in the java.awt.event package. So we have seen in the last example also how listener classes are created. Listener classes are created by implementing one or more listener interfaces, and all those listener interfaces are packaged in a package called as java.awt.event package. When an event occurs, the event source invokes the appropriate method defined by the listener and provides an event object as its argument. As I've said, whenever I click on the button, an event occurs. The event source, that is the button, what it does, it notifies the listener, a particular listener, and provides an event object as an argument to that method of a listener object. Okay, as I've said, there are many different listener interfaces available to handle different events. The following is the list of commonly used event listeners or event listener interfaces. The interfaces are the action listener. This interface is used to receive action events, component listener for component events, item listener for item events. Like that we have key listener, mouse listener, text listener, window listener, adjustment listener, container listener, mouse motion, focus listener, and so on. For every event class we have a event listener interface. Remember, as you can see, action, we have action event, we have action listener interface. We have component event, we have component listener interface. We have item event, we have item listener interface. Now to handle each of the event we have a particular type of listener interface. Okay, some of these interfaces, each of those interface provides with some methods, remember, which are executed in response to the event. For example, in action listener, the last example we have used action listener. In action listener, the method was action performed, which was defined in the class my listener in the last example, if you have seen. Same way in different interfaces like item listener, key listener, there are different methods which are declared. All these are interfaces, remember. Interface includes abstract methods and final fits. So all those interfaces contains method declarations, not a definition. Definition will be provided by the classes which inherits these interfaces, and that is the reason in the last example my listener class was inheriting action listener interface, and that is the reason it was providing implementation for method action performed. Okay, so let's go through some of the listener interfaces. We will go through action listener interface, which we have already studied actually. So this interface defines action performed method that is invoked when an action event occurs. Its general form is shown here. Just look at the general form of this action performed. Many students make mistake while declaring this method or defining this method. The method is void, the return type. The method name is action performed, where P is capital. This method takes an argument of type action event. Means this is used to handle action events, action performed method, and this is notified, or this method is called when the action event is generated. You click on the button, action event is generated, it will call action performed method. Okay, so important, action listener contains only one method, that is action performed, and one example we have seen in the last class itself. Then we have focus listener interface, and this interface is used to handle focus events. Focus is when a component is in focus. If there is a text field and if I keep my mouse cursor on it, then you can say the text field is in focus, means current it is active, you can say the component is active. In that case the focus event occurs. Or when you change the focus, means from the text field if you click on a button, the focus changes. The active component right now it is a button, so even in that case the focus event occurs. This particular interface, the focus listener interface, this defines two methods. These two methods are focus and focus lost. When a component obtains keyboard focus, then the focus gained method. When a component loses keyboard focus, focus lost. Now general form of both the methods is given here. You can see here, void focus gained. Again look at the spelling, and it takes, we have focus lost, even this takes focus event as an argument. So this is about focus listener interface. This interface contains two important methods, focus gained and focus lost. Whenever you want to handle focus event in your program, you have to create a listener which inherits, you have to create a listener class which inherits focus listener interface. Now let us go through an example to understand how focus listener interface can be used in a program. So we will create a GUI something like this, applet window, and on the applet window we will create a text field like this, and there will also be a label. So there will be a label. Okay, so whenever I click on this text field will get a focus, and when the text field gets focus, it will display something on the label. And when I click outside the text field, suppose I click here on the applet window, the text field will lose a focus and it will call focus lost. Even in that case, we will print one message. And this example is to show you how focus events can be handled by using focus listener interface. Okay, so let's write a example program. Okay, to write this program, Notepad++. So I'll open Notepad++. Okay, it is open. Okay, I'll close the opened windows, earlier open windows first. Okay, so this is a file. Let's write a program. First thing, we import some packages. The packages like import java.applet.star. Then we need a package import java.awt abstract windowing toolkit, and one more package import java.awt.event. Remember these packages, these are important packages whenever you write the Java GUI program. Basically GUI program, AWT based GUI program. Okay, so packages have been imported. Let us create a class. Name this class as focus demo. Okay, focus demo extends, as you know, we have to inherit applet class whenever we create an applet. Okay, so applet, so class is defined. Next, the method public void init. As you know, in applet, to create a GUI, we have to always use a method init, because this is the first method which is executed in the applet lifecycle. So inside the init, we have to define the components required for the GUI. On the GUI, on the applet screen, if you look at, we have two components. One is text field, another is label. So we will define text field and label here. Text field t1 is equals to new text field. I'll give a size 15. The text field size will be of 15 characters long. Then we will create a label. L1 is equals to new label. Okay, so new label. Initially, I'll display some text in this. So I'll say click on text field. Okay, so we have created two components. One is text field, another is label. Let us add this on the applet. To add, we can use add method, add t1, add L1. Okay, so even adding of these two components is done. Next is handling focus event. On which component we want to handle a focus event? We want to handle a focus event on text field, right? Because when I click on the text field, it has to do something. What it has to do? It has to display something on the label, I said. Same way, when I click outside the text field, when the text field loses a focus, again we are doing something. So you have to handle a focus event on the text field. Now to handle focus event, we have to define a listener class. So we have to define a listener class here, and that class has to be outside the init method, remember. Then we will define a class. I'll say my listener itself. listener. So this listener class we are creating to handle which event? We are creating this class to handle focus event, and that is the reason this class should inherit focus listener. Implements focus listener. Implements focus listener. Why keyword implements? As I've said, focus listener, it is an interface, not a class. So keyword implements is used to inherit interface. We have studied in the core Java, so we are not going through all those things again here. So to inherit an interface, we use keyword implements. Okay, now we have created a listener class that is implementing focus listener, which handles focus event, and that is the reason this my listener should implement the methods of focus listener, because it is inheriting focus listener. All the methods which are declared in focus listener needs to be overridden by my listener. So what are the methods of focus listener? Just now we have studied the methods of focus listener. The methods of focus listener are, there are two. The methods are void focus gain and void focus lost. Both we have to redefine in our class. So we have to write void focus gained, and this takes one argument, that is focus event. I'll say focus event even. Okay, we have redefined one method now, focus gain. Same way we have to redefine one method, void focus. The second method is, what is the second method there? It is focus lost. Focus lost. Again, even this takes focus event as an argument, so I'll say E2. Okay, both the methods which are part of focus listener interface we have redefined here, and that is compulsory, as I've said. So we need to redefine it. So this step is also done. Okay. So there's one more step in event handling. What is that step? Do you remember? We have seen steps. We have created the GUI. Then we have identified the event to be handled, that is focus event. Then we have declared a listener class which inherits a listener interface. And lastly, we have to register the listener with the source. The source here, it is T1. With T1 we have to register the listener, that is my listener. Okay. So how to register? The method is T1 dot add focus listener. Which listener we are adding now? So focus event. So focus listener. Add focus listener. In bracket we have to send an object of the listener class. So listener class here, my listener. So object we can directly create it by using new my listener, and done. So this is the registration process. So registration is also done. So the work is done here. The program is created. So whenever I click on the text field, it will generate a focus event, right? And a method from the listener interface, that is our listener class, is automatically called. Which method is called? Whenever I click on the text field, it will call a focus gained method. If I click outside the text field, then the text field will lose a focus, and again one more method is called, the method is focus lost. So this is how it executes. We haven't defined any code inside focus gained and focus lost, so there will not be any output on the screen. Suppose on focus gain I want to display something on the label, so I can display it by using label object. Label object is L1 dot set text I will display focus gained on the label. Focus gained. Then from inside the method focus lost, even here I'll display, instead of gained, I'll display here focus lost, a message, focus lost. Okay, that's it. So let us save this. I'll save this in D. We will save it with the name focus demo dot java. Okay, it is saved. Next step, it is to compile it. So let us open the CMD. Okay. CMD is open. Now we'll move to the directory where we have saved the file. It is in D. Let us compile it now. Java C space demo. The name is focus demo dot java. Okay, it is getting compiled. We'll just wait for a few seconds. Okay, so there are some errors. You can see line number 24 cannot find symbol L1, again 28 cannot find symbol L1. So it was not able to find L1. So L1 here, L1 is not a local variable over here. L1 is declared here in the init. As it is declared in the init, it can only be accessed inside the init. But we want to access L1 from inside focus gain, that is from inside the class my listener as well. And that is the reason we have to remove a declaration of label 1 from here. I'll copy just from there and I'll copy it into my class section. Okay, so declaration I have moved in the class. Only initialization we will keep it in init. Okay, instantiation is kept in init, directly L1. L1 is declared in the class so that it is accessible everywhere in the class. Okay, now let us compile it again. Okay, it is compiled successfully now, so we can execute it now. To execute, we need a HTML file, or we can add code in the Java file itself. So I'll add the HTML code here. We have to add the HTML code inside the command lines. Okay, so HTML always starts with the tag HTML, then the body tag. Then to embed applet, we need an applet tag with attributes, height, say height, I'll say 300. One more, that is width is equals to, I'll say 500. Okay, so two attributes, actually three attributes. One more important attribute is code is equals to name of our Java class, that is focus demo. Okay, then the applet closing tag, then we have to close body, same way has to close HTML. Okay, so even applet the HTML code also we have written. So let us execute it now. To execute, we can use applet viewer space the name of our HTML file. Actually HTML file and Java file are same here, so I'll say focus demo.java. Okay, there are still some errors in the program. You can see here we have our applet window displayed, then too there are some errors which are there, and that is the reason you cannot see the components on the applet screen. The applet screen is displayed. If you look at the error says illegal access exception, class.sun.applet.applet panel cannot access a member of class focus demo with modifiers blank. As we know, whenever we create an applet, there has to be at least one class with a public access specifier, right? We have declared a class here in applet. This class is not declared as public. In applet, we should have at least one class which is declared as public, and that is the reason the error was displayed. So we make this as public. Let us compile the program again. Okay, compile, now execute. Okay, so you can see our GUI, it is displayed, and currently the focus is in the field. Can you see a blinking arrow, a blinking cursor there in the text field? Yes, and that is the reason the label has displayed focus gain. You can see if I change my focus, there is no other components here to change the focus. Okay, I'll just click on the label, otherwise. Okay, there are no other components which can gain the focus right now. There is only one component which can gain a focus, that is the text field, only one text field, and that is the reason it is continuously displaying focus gained. Focus lost is not displayed. So what we will do is we will add one more text field there, so that when I click on the second text field, the first field text field's focus will be lost and it will display a message focus lost. Okay, so let's add one more text field. Okay, copy and paste the same code. I'll name this as T2 and we will add it. After the label, I'll add it. Okay, so this is T2 after the label. Okay, let us again check it. Compile it, compiled, execute. Okay, we have the GUI now with two text fields. You can see here the first text field is in focus. You can see a cursor in that, and the label is displaying focus gain. So focus gain event is already raised. Now if I click on second text field, the first text field's focus should be lost and it should raise an event focus lost, which displays focus lost message on the label. Let us see. Okay, let me click on the second text field now to verify if it displays focus lost. Okay, now you can see the focus is in second text field, the cursor is in second text field, and the label has displayed focus lost because the component 1, that is T1, has lost the focus. We have registered a focus event on that. Okay, so this is how we can handle focus events by using focus listener. And remember, focus listener interface contains two important methods: focus gained and focus lost. Let's go back to our activity. So that's it about focus listener interface. With this, we will stop here. We will study the other listener interfaces in the next session. Thank you.